The rain was beating against the glass of the research station, each drop echoing faintly in the silence of the night. The facility was located on the outskirts of the city of Andres, a sprawling colony established on the alien world of Narion 4. It was meant to be a beacon of cooperation between Earth and the native species, but in reality, it was a fortress of suspicion. Humans were still new here, and while treaties had been signed, true trust remained elusive. I, Daniel Reeve, wasn't a soldier or politician. I was just a xenolinguist stationed here to study the language of the Narioni, humanoid in appearance but different in too many ways to count. My days were spent recording their dialects, analyzing their tonal patterns, and documenting their cultural stories. Nights, however, were quiet. Too quiet. That night I had just finished my notes when I heard it. A soft knock at my door. The human section of the station wasn't visited often, especially at this hour. When I opened the door I froze. Standing there was Lyra, the alien girl I had seen many times in the observation chambers. She was young by her people's measure, though older than she looked. Narioni lifespan stretched far beyond ours. Her silver hair shimmered in the dim light, her large amethyst eyes catching mine. She looked uncertain, almost afraid. "Human," she whispered, her voice carrying a soft chime-like resonance. "May I enter?" Before I could answer, she stepped inside, clutching a thin blanket woven in the traditional patterns of her kind. She closed the door behind her, leaned against it, and whispered words that sent a chill down my spine. "Can I sleep beside you tonight, human?" Middle. I didn't know what to say. Her people were proud, fiercely private. For one of them, especially someone like Lyra, the daughter of an important council member, to come to me like this was unthinkable. "Lyra, are you all right?" I asked carefully. She nodded quickly, but her eyes betrayed turmoil. "The walls listen in the chambers. The shadows speak in the hallways. But here," she gestured around my quarters. "Here it is quiet. Safe." Something had frightened her. I offered her the small cot in the corner, but she shook her head. "No. Beside you. Please." Her voice cracked on the last word, and I felt a tug of empathy. Despite the alienness of her form, the elongated ears, the faint bioluminescence tracing patterns on her skin, there was something undeniably human in the way she trembled. So I agreed. She lay down on the edge of my bed, stiff at first, as if unsure she would be allowed to stay. Slowly, though, her breathing steadied. I stayed awake longer, watching her features soften as she drifted into uneasy sleep. But even then, her body shivered, and I could tell her dreams were haunted. The next day, I confronted her gently about it. "Lyra, why did you come to me?" She hesitated before answering. "Because the others would not believe me. And because you listen, Daniel." Then, in hushed tones, she told me a story. Her people had been sensing something, an invisible presence moving within the colony. She described it as a dark whisperer, a being that thrived on fear and doubt, slipping through the minds of both humans and Narioni alike. Few acknowledged it openly, but some had already gone missing. The council dismissed these fears as superstition, but Lyra swore it was real. "I hear it at night," she confessed, her eyes wide with remembered terror. "It presses against my thoughts, trying to enter. Last night, it almost did. I wanted to believe it was just stress or a bad dream, but I had seen strange things myself. Data files missing. Lights flickering in empty corridors. Colleagues reporting lost time. And now Lyra's story stitched these fragments into a terrifying whole. The bond grows. Over the following nights, Lyra returned again and again to my quarters, always with the same request. "Can I sleep beside you tonight, human?" and each time I let her. We began to talk late into the night. She shared her people's myths, stories of celestial guardians and void-born predators. I shared Earth's legends in return. We laughed at the similarities, marveled at the differences. Somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing her as just alien. She became Lyra, curious, brave, vulnerable. But the threat she spoke of was no myth. One evening, as she drifted to sleep, I felt it too, a coldness creeping at the edges of my mind. A whisper not of sound but thought. "Open the door, Daniel. Let us in." I bolted upright, heart pounding. Lyra stirred and grabbed my hand. Her grip was trembling, but her words were steady. "You feel it now. Do you believe me?" He nodded. Rising conflict. We couldn't ignore it anymore. Together, we began investigating the station. Lyra showed me places where the shadows seemed unnaturally deep. I checked the logs and found more inconsistencies. Human workers reporting fatigue, Nerioni guards falling asleep on duty, none remembering how or why. The more we searched, the closer Lyra and I became. She no longer asked timidly to stay with me. She simply arrived, blanket in hand, and settled beside me as if it were the most natural thing. And strangely, when we slept near each other, the whispers were weaker, as though some unseen barrier kept them away. One night, as rain lashed against the windows again, she whispered, "Maybe it is because you are human. Your mind, it is different. It resists. And yours strengthens it," I said softly. She looked at me for a long moment, then smiled faintly. "Then perhaps together we are safe." The confrontation. It wasn't long before the station descended into chaos. People began collapsing in the halls, eyes glazed, muttering words in a language no translator could decipher. The council tried to quarantine the afflicted, but the presence spread like wildfire. Lyra and I knew we couldn't run. We had to face it. We traced the disturbances to the lower maintenance tunnels, long abandoned, damp with leaking condensation. The deeper we went, the stronger the whispers became. My skull felt like it was splitting open. Beside me, Lyra clutched my arm, her glow pulsing like a heartbeat. At last we reached the core chamber. And there it was. A mass of shifting shadow anchored to the machinery, feeding on the station's energy. It had no eyes, no mouth, yet I felt it see us. Human. Alien. Two halves of the same fear, it whispered inside my mind. "Join us. Bahalo. Be one." I nearly stumbled forward, drawn by its pull, but Lyra's hand tightened on mine. Her voice rang out, soft yet unyielding. "No. We are not yours." Her glow flared brighter, wrapping around us both. For a moment the whispers faltered. I focused all my strength, resisting the pull, and together we pushed back. The shadow shrieked, not aloud but in the tearing pressure of our minds. With one final surge, Lyra's light enveloped the chamber, and the thing dissolved into nothingness. Ending. When I woke, I was back in my room. Lyra sat beside me, exhaustion clear in her posture. "It is gone," she whispered, relief softening her features. "We did it." But then she added, almost shyly, "I could not have done it alone. Your mind held firm when mine faltered." I reached for her hand, and she didn't pull away. For a moment, there was only silence between us, filled with unspoken understanding.